There is no quarterback deserving of the MVP.
That's not true.
I agree. 1 week it's Dak, 1 week it's Brock, 1 week it's Lamar. Every week there's another guy who's like, this is the guy who should be MVP. Welcome back to another episode of Caps Off by the Game Day. A little bit of a different setup here today. Everybody home for Christmas. How was everybody's Christmas, guys?
Well, we're Jewish, so we should probably shut the fuck up and let Felipe talk.
Did you do the classic Jewish tradition of eating Chinese food on Christmas Eve, Adam?
Yeah, we were snorting MSG.
Wow.
Oh man, people don't know what MSG is. I feel like the average
if
person.
you don't know what MSG is, here you go. Every Chinese food you've ever had, it's not because it actually tastes good. It's because we add a little powder in there called MSG, monosodium. Don't know what the G is part.
Garden.
But it's like sugar.
Madison Square Garden.
We add Madison Square Garden, and then it just makes all the food taste that much better. And that's also why you wake up the next morning looking like a fucking balloon.
Yep.
And that's.
I mean, look at me. Look at me. Don't I look like a balloon right now?
You look great.
Thanks.
That's
man.
fair, man.
I use my time.
Shout out to MSG.
Felipe, what did you do to celebrate Jesus' birthday?
Hey, it's a great question. I got great Italian on Christmas Eve.
Woo!
Great Italian dinner. Some black truffle.
Ooh.
Something fettuccine, something like that.
went.
I had. It was great. It was great. And then Christmas Day,
Was that a black truffle fettuccine or black truffle, comma, some fettuccine?
It was, bro. It was like, no, it wasn't black truffle fettuccine. It was black truffle on top of the fettuccine.
That's nice though.
Black truffle and mushroom. Like it was like, tartufo and fungi. If we want to be very specific.
Do it again.
No, we're good there. We're good. But then Christmas Day, I just laid back, chilled, man. I watched some football like you guys did. Had a lot of sweets, and I feel like garbage today because I'm not used to eating this many sweets. But
you look great.
But it's been fun. It's been fun.
Well,
I'm covering my stomach, so
I'm so glad. Yeah,
Matan, what about you?
You look very inflated, Felipe. What did I do? I did have Chinese food Christmas Eve, and then yesterday I watched football. Watched some football, played some Fortnite, just a usual day. And then I went to a billiards bar last night, which was a good time. Got to watch the second half of the Giants game there, which was upsetting. And then I missed the first half of the Ravens-Niners game because I went to dinner. But I did get to watch all the highlights. I got to see every pick Brock Purdy threw, or every pick that happened on the Niners team. I don't know if Brock Purdy threw all those picks, but
there were five. There were 5 total interceptions.
Were there
Brock
5? Four.
Four.
Oh no, there were 5 turtles. So Sam Darnold threw one.
Yeah,
but that doesn't.
There were 5 total interceptions.
That's
Brock
fine.
Purdy was a merchant of 4 of them.
That's true.
And
merchant.
We will talk about those.
Jack had this thing planned all along, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you just knew this is I'm going to leave at this point when he's going to have his worst game of the season, and Felipe's going to come back on the pod and absolutely ream him an entirely new butthole. So this whole thing was planned out. It's honestly fucked up.
He already has a new butthole. He lives in San Francisco. I'm just going to penetrate it.
Just like the Ravens D did to Brock Purdy. All right, well, let's talk about that 49ers and Ravens game. A lot came out of that game, both playoff implications. Of course, both these teams are in the playoffs, but seeding-wise, I guess it was important, and just in terms of big play, big game, potential Super Bowl matchup. What are the biggest takeaways from this game from you guys?
Felipe?
You want me to go first?
Sure. I needed a fucking loss. Like, what the fuck? San Francisco, you fraudulent fuck.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as far to say San Francisco is fraudulent, but they're not as high and mighty as we thought they were.
Who?
They're a strong team, the 49ers. They're a strong team, and we knew that. And when they're at full strength, they're very good, but we said it all year. And I always said this when we were talking about the Cowboys versus Niners. Like, the Niners at full strength, they're much better. But you can't ever guarantee full strength, especially heading into the playoffs. It's a long season. And when they're down, we saw them lose 3 straight earlier in the year. And they had some injuries yesterday. Trent Williams going down. weren't at full strength, and they got destroyed by this Ravens team. And part of that destruction was 4 interceptions by Brock Purdy. What this showed is that Brock Purdy does not carry this team. Mm-hmm. Brock Purdy is a product of a great system that they have, and he plays very well when everything is going right. But how does he play when everything is not going right? Right? Like, can he overcome some unfortunate events, injuries, some mistakes by other players? No, he's not that type of quarterback to overcome those things. We saw 4 interceptions yesterday. 3 of them were very bad. 1 was a great play by the defender, but I should add that great play by the defender, the screen pass that was tipped and intercepted, we've given other quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson. Lamar Jackson had one of those against the Browns when the Ravens lost to the Browns, and Adam and Jack were both on the podcast. R.I.P. Jack, R.I.P. But Adam and Jack were both on the podcast saying, yo, Lamar played like shit. What about that interception at the end that lost in the game? It was that exact interception to Myles Garrett. It was that exact same interception. So we're not going to, if we're going to give Lamar shit for that, we got to give it to Brock as well. That's cool. 4 interceptions. Brock is a huge reason the 49ers lost. And if this team is not in full strength come the playoffs, they can lose to anybody. That's my takeaway.
Okay.
So I see the 49ers loss in a completely different light. I truly do. Because I don't see there were 4 interceptions from Brock, and yes, it was Brock's worst game as an NFL starting quarterback, but the 4 interceptions are not on Brock Purdy. 1 interception, that first one, is on Brock Purdy.
3 of them were very clearly. 3 of them were very clearly. 2 of them were tipped,
and 1 of them was hit. His hand was hit. Now,
granted, you realize you throw it into a tip. You throw it into a tipped pass. Like,
okay, but like there's a difference between there's a difference between a quarterback making a bad read, and that's like you shouldn't have made that read, and then it just gets tipped. It's unfortunate events. So I'm not going to sit here and be like the Niners lost because of Brock Purdy. I think the Niners lost because they just absolutely got manhandled by a team that we did not think, or at least you thought, we did not think met up with the Niners. We thought the 49ers were this indestructible team. And clearly the 49ers can be beat, not just by like a Brock having a bad game or bad drops or a defense underperforming, but by purely being out physicaled is what I see. So when it comes to the Niners, like what happened is in that I was losing what I was going to say.
No, I like it. It's good.
But the 49ers going into the half were down 4 points and had 3 turnovers. The Ravens left so many more points on the board. So I don't look at this and just say to myself, like the Ravens came out in the second half and just absolutely beat down on the 49ers. The loss is not on Brock Purdy. The loss is on the entire team, naturally, because, and I think Kyle Shanahan has never won a game down in the fourth quarter. Like, that to me is a worrisome stat.
Horrible.
Like, I don't know what the specific number was. Maybe I think we've read a stat where it's like down 3, maybe they've come back. I thought they said on the broadcast last night that the 49ers have never won under the Kyle Shanahan era, went down in the fourth. That's concerning. But they were down 4 points at the half, and then injuries started to trickle in. We've always said, if the Niners can't stay healthy, these injuries are going to affect the team. And so, yes, maybe you're right. Brock Purdy's MVP candidate, MVP season kind of dwindled right there and then, right? The odds went to plus 1,400.
See ya.
But with that being said, it did prove, unfortunately, it for sure proved that Brock Purdy is benefiting from the team. And amazing, there's nothing wrong with that. But when Brock's not playing at his best and he's trying to overcome drops and these INTs and has to do too much, has to bring them back, this 49ers team can't necessarily win. Now, that's not to say that this 49ers team isn't fucking deadly still going into the playoffs. Let's clarify that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you're saying, Felipe, that, and I agree with you that, like, if the system fails, the Niners are the best system in football. We know that. We've been saying that all year. If the system fails, Brock Purdy's going to fail. But I don't think that affects necessarily his contention for MVP. I know the odds immediately jumped and immediately went down, but Brock Purdy is still, like, leading the league in a lot of stats. Like, he is. Look at all the stats. Don't worry. I have them for you. Still first in passer rating.
Go crazy.
Still first in passer rating, still second in passing touchdowns, still second in yards, first in yards per attempt, first in yards per completion, and tied for second in wins. Like, the guy is still having an MVP caliber season. He should not be dropping as low and as quickly just because of these 4 INTs.
He should be, and he is.
No, but he should. I'm saying he shouldn't be. You're right. The 49ers had a bad game. Lots of quarterbacks have bad games. Patrick Mahomes has a bad game last year. He still goes on to win MVP. This was Brock Purdy's first terrible game, right?
No.
We haven't seen any terrible game out of Brock Purdy.
He's had three bad games. Before this, when they had a 3-game losing skid.
And they've won 11 wins. And they've won 11 games, right?
They played well most of the year. I agree with you. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, here's the difference between the Brock or any MVP candidate is that we said going into this stretch that there were two quarterbacks that were leading the MVP race in Dak and Brock Purdy, and both are going to have an opportunity to frankly lose it and win it. If you keep this up, if you play against Baltimore on primetime and you have 2 touchdowns, 250 yards, you guys win handedly, then you're going to win the MVP. But if you lose it, if you play poorly, you are going to lose your chance at the MVP. So Brock plays poorly, and not just like poorly, like shit, with 4 INTs and 0 touchdowns. Like that's his worst game statistically. That's going to plummet his chances. Dak then comes into Miami. Shout out to the Porpoises. We're going to talk about them eventually. But Dak doesn't have this MVP-like game. That's going to hurt his chances. And then we see it the inverse of that is Lamar plays well, but doesn't go berserk. And now is the leading MVP candidate, right? And I do have thoughts on the whole MVP situation.
Wins matter.
But I totally agree with you. But this loss took Brock Purdy out of the MVP race. It did, unfortunately. And frankly, it probably also took Dak Prescott out of the MVP race when he lost to the Dolphins. That's just how it works, unfortunately. So
yeah, but here's the thing with Brock, right? The Niners, we knew this was going to be a test. And they've had multiple tests this year. The Cowboys were the first test, passed that. The Eagles later, they were another test, they passed that. Now they have the Ravens, and every single year is the game of the year because the Niners keep climbing and keep beating those and checking off those check marks that we say, like, are they really an amazing team? And is Brock really this amazing quarterback? And then this week they had to do it against the Ravens. And the fact that this was on national TV, this was the biggest game of the week. You have to win this game. You're playing for the NFC while the Eagles are sputtering a little bit. Like you're playing for the NFC, you want to go win. And now you're playing one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best defense. You're playing another quarterback who's also an MVP candidate, and you go out and you not only lose, but as the quarterback of that team, you throw 4 interceptions and you look terrible. 0 touchdowns with the supporting cast that we all say is the best in the league. You do that. That's why it's so bad. It's because of the spotlight. It's about when it happened, and it's also about how it happened. Like they got destroyed, and while a lot of us haven't given Brock the full credit that some people think he deserves, like Jack thinks he deserves because of the team around him, that also serves as when you lose, then like this under the same principle, you shouldn't lose by as bad. You shouldn't. You're the supporting cast around you that gets the credit that should get more credit when you win. Like they're also supposed to be keeping you around when you play horrible. And so he played that bad that his supporting cast that is so great around him couldn't even keep him around in this game. They lost by double digits. So I think it's worrisome if you're the Niners. That's my whole thing.
No, I don't think anyone's disagreeing that it's worrisome. I totally agree. What I also got out of this game, which Jack has been preaching, which I had not seen to the same degree, is that Brock Purdy actually does deliver the ball way better than anyone gives him credit for. And, forget the stats for a second. Like Jack said, I got to be the eye test guy now. In that first half, he was making throws downfield. George Kittle was dominating that first drive. He hit Debo in stride, 20 yards down the field. You're right. His supporting cast wasn't doing anything. They were doing none of that yak shit that we usually expect them to do. Debo wasn't taking those screen passes down, all the way downfield. But he was dotting guys in stride. Kittle had a great game. I think he had 125 yards or something, 115 maybe. Brock Purdy's got the talent. Forget those stats. Forget the interceptions for a second. Watching this game, there were moments there where he was showing flashes of actual greatness. And I am starting to really ride that Brock Purdy train more than I was before this game. What'd you say?
It took you a game where he threw 4 interceptions to ride the Brock Purdy train, bro.
Yes. Absolutely. He's playing the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense is the best defense in the league. And that doesn't credit. Look, that shouldn't be an argument of you got to play. Obviously, you have to play well against the good teams as well in order to be considered one of the greats. But I'm just saying, I never watched Brock Purdy and saw anything holy shit, he can actually throw. Whereas because of the yak shit, I've been on that yak argument. He's got all these supporting guys. But last night, there was none of that. He had no support doing that.
And he got destroyed.
That's fair. I'm just saying there was none of the yak, but there was some of the yards, the air yards.
Air yards. No,
Yeah.
and
Air yards.
Brock, look, we've given credit as well. He's up there amongst the top in air yards per attempt, everything like that.
Yeah.
But what we also saw last week is that he's in the top 10 of most inaccurate passes per passes thrown as well. So he's off target a lot. And when you play a great defense like the Ravens defense is, and they're better than the Cowboys defense, and they're better than the Eagles defense, and they are able to capitalize on those off-target throws, what you're going to see is 4 interceptions. Now, is he going to see another great defense that can challenge him like the Ravens did last night? I don't know if he's going to see that in the playoffs, maybe until they get to the Super Bowl if the Ravens end up making it. But it's just the defense capitalizing on inopportune throws, like the mistargeted or the inaccurate throws, I should say, were evident last night, even though like last week, I think it was good timing that we ran off those stats because clearly he's one of the least accurate quarterbacks in the league.
The Brock Purdy storyline is comical to me at this point because last year, heading into the playoffs, the question was, is Brock Purdy actually a starter? What can he actually do, regardless of how he plays? Now he goes through a full fucking season as one of the leading MVP candidates, and now he's not an MVP candidate. Like, let's just talk about
he's still an MVP candidate. Whether he's the leader or not, he's still an MVP candidate.
I'm with you, but I just think it's hilarious to me that at one point, literally this time last year, we were questioning whether or not Brock Purdy was a starter, and at the next following year, a full 365 days later, we're questioning, is he even an MVP? Like, regardless of being an MVP or not, Brock Purdy is a fucking bona fide starter in this league. Brock Purdy is the guy that will get the Niners to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl if they do get there. And so, yes, he played poorly, but like we could poke fun at all these little things for like having one bad game when all of our quarterbacks have bad games all the damn fucking time and they lose shit. Like the Niners are going to be completely fine. I ain't worried about the Niners at all. Like, I'm more impressed with the Ravens. Like, let's flip the fucking channel.
Facts.
Like, this Baltimore Ravens team is fucking legit. Like, with the lack of weapons, right? Like, Felipe, I know you've been on the Ravens all year, but let me just give you your flowers. Like, you've been on this hype train, right? Like, the fact that Zay, like, this was the first game to me where Zay Flowers looked like a bona fide one.
Yeah, he was
like,
awesome.
his body doesn't fit it, right? Like, his type, is the way he plays. But just like some of the things he was doing to Charvarius Ward, like, some of the just like his ability to move like with Lamar, like that felt like a bona fide one to me. So if Zay Flowers can play like that, then this Ravens team can actually win the Super Bowl. But if he doesn't, like the fact that they didn't really see a larger amount from the supporting cast, that does worry me a little bit. But that defense is fucking legit. That defense can definitely carry the Ravens to the Super Bowl.
The Ravens are the real deal, man. I said it last week. You guys are disrespectful. Disrespectful. Capital DIS. Because you guys aren't being respectful. Very disrespectful to this Ravens team who have played very well all year. And the games that they have lost have been like marginal, bro. Like that Browns game. The Ravens should have won that game, giving up leads. Like, it is what it is, those games that they lost. But the games that they have won, they've been as dominant as any other team. And we haven't wanted to give it to them all year. But they're like that. And Lamar now, obviously the MVP favorite. And I think deservedly so. He's played very well all year. But again, it's one of those situations where he doesn't need to put up crazy stats to win. Well, like that team is good.
I feel like that's also a testament to the NFL this year. There is no and that's why we keep shuffling each week. 1 week it's Dak, 1 week it's Brock, 1 week it's Lamar, 1 week it's Tua, 1 week it's Tyreek. Like every week there's another guy who's like, this is the guy who should be MVP. It's just entirely recency bias, in my opinion, this week they had a great week. There's no one having an awesome year. There is no
quarterback deserving of the MVP. Now, if we want to go purely off of stats,
I agree.
Dak and Brock were doing that. Pure stats, right? Like just pure quarterback stats. Frankly, Tua's stats are better than Lamar.
Josh Allen, too.
Josh Allen as well. Lamar is the most valuable player on arguably the best team in the NFL right now. I understand. That's the award. It's the most valuable player award. However, what you are signifying to the rest of the NFL, even though it is the most important position, is that you don't matter outside of the quarterback. Like Lamar's stats are not EPA per play. He's outside the top 10. You want to talk about his, I think it's his yards. He's 14th. I have a bunch of stats that I wanted to go into because I don't believe, I get that Lamar should be the favorite right now because just the way the team is playing. We're super recent with how he's with doing it in San Francisco. I totally understand it, but I don't think Lamar is a lock to win the MVP. I don't at all. And frankly, I think the MVP is going to be settled really in this next week. Because I think if we want to go just strictly off of quarterback play, like Tua's right there with them. Tua has more passing yards. He's first in passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 INTs. He's second in passer rating, like first in completion percentage, second best record, second in yards per attempt. We look at Lamar. He's 15th in passing yards, 14th in touchdowns, like 8th in passer rating, 11th in EPA per play. Like, yes, I get his rushing stats, 5 touchdowns, 786 rushing yards. Totally understand that. But if we want to just take the all-encompassing stats, over the last couple of years, 2022, Mahomes had 5,200 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 INTs. Passer rating was 105.2. 2021 Rodgers, 4,100 passing yards, 37 TDs, 4 INTs, 111 passer rating. 2020 Rodgers. Like, the list goes on and on of guys that threw for more than 3,700 passing yards and more than like 30 passing touchdowns. Lamar has 19 passing touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, this dude is the best player on the best team right now, and that's why he would get the MVP. But the MVP is going to be settled this coming week. If the Dolphins beat the Ravens, it's either going to go to Tyreek or Tua, depending on how they play. If Lamar wins and they get the number 1 seed, Lamar's going to get the MVP. But there is no shoe-in and lock to win the MVP this year.
No, there's absolutely not. It's just right now, after this week, Lamar.
He's the front runner. He earned it.
I get it. I totally understand that. I just don't think there's no quarterback that's playing literally like the most valuable player, because if we want to just go pure stats and record, it was Dak and Brock Purdy to me.
No, but it's so different though. That's why like you can't. It's not 1-to-1 stats. 10 touchdowns doesn't equate 10 touchdowns for this quarterback and that quarterback. Like, it's different. We have to look at the situation. Brock's stats are inflated because of the team he has. Dak Prescott.
Sure. But Dak, like, you're still performing.
Like, so if Dak and Brock's stats are very similar, let's say, and because they were, for the most part, a lot of them very similar, where Brock was 1 in pass rating, Dak was 2, and like all this type of stuff. If they're very similar, then we have to look at situation and who has the better situation, who's doing more, who's more valuable for their team. Which team would be worse if the quarterback wasn't there? Clearly, the Cowboys would be way worse without Dak Prescott than the Niners would be without Brock Purdy. This quarterback, Dak Prescott, has a better case for MVP. And it's the same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. If they lose Lamar Jackson, bro, I don't know what they're doing with Tyler Huntley. Like, I don't know how good they're going to be. We know the 49ers are going to be okay. And I think that's – so we can't compare just stats. And I agree. Tua has a case. Tua has a chance, because if Tua goes out and beats the Ravens this week, which I don't think they will do. I don't think they have a shot in doing that, but let's say they do. Then they go out in week 18 and they beat the Buffalo Bills. It's either going to be Tua or Tyreek. But right now it's Lamar Jackson, and you can't just look at stats.
Let me ask you something, though, Felipe. You're saying, though, like that's a good point of like, yes, without Dak, the Cowboys would be shit. Without Lamar, the Ravens would be shit. Dak Prescott has better stats than Lamar Jackson as a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
So he should be the MVP frontrunner, in my opinion. If we're looking at it like that, if that's the logic we're looking at, then Dak should be the MVP, not
But that's
Lamar.
why I come back to like, there's no quarterback right now that to me feels like we're talking most valuable player. If we want to talk most valuable player, this might be the first year where it shouldn't go to a quarterback. Look what CMC was able to do. You take CMC off of that, even though we've said that running game, anyone could thrive there. We've seen other guys thrive there. You take CMC out there, I don't know how lethal it is. He was the only thing they had besides George Kittle last night.
That's true.
You take Tyreek out of the Dolphins, like, granted, Waddle was still able to perform against the Jets and they won 30-0, but you take Tyreek out of that Dolphins offense, not many people are as afraid of that Dolphins offense.
Not even close.
So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't believe that the quarterback is locked in. Unfortunately, this would be the only fucking year where you can say, like, there are other more valuable positions. And frankly,
I agree with that.
Someone else deserves it outside of Lamar. Like, again, if Lamar was up here throwing 30 passing touchdowns or actually playing well, like, he's playing better than his stats say, is kind of what I would say about Lamar. Like, he's controlling the game. And frankly, I don't think Lamar gives a fuck about the MVP, but I don't think there's any quarterback that deserves the MVP right now. It's just going to come down to who's the quarterback on the best fucking team with the best record and the best chances to make the Super Bowl. If the Dolphins go out and get the 1 seed, it'll be Tua, even though Tyreek might be more deserving. If it's the Ravens and they get the 1 seed, it'll be Lamar. If the Cowboys somehow get the 1 seed and Dak over these next 2 games has a Dak, back-to-back type of week like he had in like week 7 to 8 or whatever, he's going to go win the MVP. But I will say, because of this game with Brock, he's got no chance to win the MVP.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I still think he has a chance, but he still
I don't think he does.
Tyreek should have heavy consideration.
I agree. I agree with.
Christian McCaffrey should have heavy consideration.
If we're fans, I was just going to say, if we're fans, because of what you just said, Adam, because there is no quarterback that is just like clear front runner, best quarterback this year, like best player, best stats. I think as fans, we want to see Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey win MVP. That would be way more exciting for me as a fan. I'm a casual. I'm not a stats guy. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm just a guy who likes to watch football, and let's shake it up a little bit. Give Tyreek the MVP. Give Christian McCaffrey the MVP for all I care. I just think it would be a lot more fun to finally go back to giving a skill position player that chance to be the most valuable player in the NFL. So
I saw a crazy stat that Lamar's stats this year, and it was shout out to, I think it was like Bangalorian on Twitter or someone. Lamar's stats this year are identical to like Andy Dalton in 2015 or something. Now, granted, the league's different and what's happened, but it was like both teams were the Bengals were like 10-2 or something. And now Andy Dalton was having an MVP type season. It's just more so to put context behind, like, if you want to look at Daniel Jones's stats of last year to Lamar's of this year right now through these, 16 games or whatever it's been.
Daniel Jones only threw 15 touchdowns. Oh, he sucks. The team is
far better and whatnot. But, like, I'm just saying, stats have to matter at some point, and it's not to necessarily knock down Lamar. It's to knock down the position winning the award, if that makes sense.
It's a great point you make, Adam. Also, I just wanted to bring this up at one point. Lamar is now 20-1 against the NFC.
That's crazy.
And his one loss is to
Giants.
Daniel Jones. Come on.
Baby.
Only quarterback in the NFC to ever beat Lamar Jackson is Daniel Jones. So
I understand Lamar.
So Daniel Jones MVP
should be the favorite. Lamar's the most valuable player on the best team. But we need to have context to who there are other players that are super valuable. And I think we've seen that with the contracts, right? Like, wide receivers are being paid out the wazoo. Running backs are not. And maybe CMC is making a case for, like, if you are a groundbreaking running back, a game changer, a game breaker, then you deserve these big bucks. But yeah, I don't think there's any quarterback that's like locked in to win that MVP. It's just going to be, hey, who's the quarterback on the best team? And frankly, I think that's a fucked way to give it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to talk?
I'm just saying, like, it frustrates me.
I don't have anything to add. We broke it down. I think Lamar deserves it right now. If the Dolphins go out and win the next couple games, which is perfect because they play the Ravens this week. This is amazing. Like, we have nothing to complain about as NFL fans because we're going to get to see who really deserves it. And I think Tyreek deserves it if the Dolphins win the next couple games. I definitely think he does because I personally haven't seen Tua step up in big games. Like this game against the Cowboys, he didn't necessarily step up. The run game was great.
And their defense was great.
And their defense stepped up. So for me, I think Tyreek deserves it in that case. But look, if the Ravens win out the next couple games, I think Lamar is 100% deserving of the award.
Well, let's talk about that Dolphins-Cowboys game. Who wants to start, kids? Actually, you know what? I'll start because I'm the unbiased party here. What do I have to say about this game? The Cowboys are obviously not as good as we thought they were. Clearly.
And say it.
And the Dolphins are good? What else do you want me to say?
That's wrong.
The Dolphins are great. And no, this is what I was going to say is that I think...
Is someone going to be truthful here?
I was just going to say we're sleeping on the Dolphins defense as well. That's the other thing. Is we are.
Respect.
We think about them as just a high-octane offense, as just a, burn the guys deep type of thing, or have Tyreek make some crazy juke move to get past you, and Tua makes a nice, accurate throw. By the way, Tua, fucking beautiful to watch sometimes. That deep ball to Waddle, what a dime. Oh, my God. What a dime.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you talk about accuracy. I mean, that was crazy. But we're sleeping on the Dolphins' defense, I think, because Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb still had a good game, but he was silent for 2 of the 4 quarters. I don't think he touched the ball in the second or third quarter, I saw.
No, after the first quarter, CD was pretty much
silent.
Matan,
Bradley Chubb is fucking lit to watch.
Matan, I appreciate you giving flowers, and I don't mean to do it exactly how I'm about to do this, but I need to hear it from Felipe because you've given the Dolphins flowers.
It's so fair.
Felipe frankly said the Dolphins' asses are going to be kicked by the Dallas Cowboys, and you know what happened?
The opposite.
We kicked their fucking ass.
Yeah.
Well, the score doesn't say, otherwise we won by a field goal. But you get
Adam, your face went frozen there on the stream when you said kick their fucking ass, like you were pointing, like Uncle Sam type of thing. It was good.
Yep.
There we go. All right.
Felipe, you got something for me, bud?
An
apology?
I'll start with this. I was wrong about the outcome of this game.
I was wrong about
So was I.
No. I was wrong about one team.
Oh no, I wasn't wrong about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are who we thought they were. They're going to go into the playoffs and lose in the first round. But this game was a good game for the Dolphins. It was a good game where they took advantage. Where they took advantage of a fullback, number 40, who's getting his first touches of the year on the Cowboys, doesn't know how to take a handoff, fumbles it on the first on what was it, like first and goal from the 1 yard line.
What's his name?
Yeah, Lupke, whatever his name is. And then the Dolphins from there, the game script was in their favor. Absolutely. Look, this Cowboys offensive line looked terrible against the Bills. It looked terrible again against the Dolphins. So if you're worried about anything with Dallas, it's the offensive line. Bradley Chubb was unblocked on half the plays. He was going straight to Dak. Dak had no time to throw. And Dak, frankly, made his MVP case. He drove the Cowboys down the field at the end of that game against this really good Dolphins defense, who I think is underrated, but we've talked about the Dolphins defense is pretty good this year. Dak goes and throws one of the best passes I've seen all year to Brandon Cooks, double coverage, back corner of the end zone. That should have been the game winner, but this Cowboys defense couldn't stop the run just like they couldn't against the Bills. So, frankly, I give the Dolphins credit because they took the game script that the Bills did and they just replicated it. Let's run down the Cowboys' throats and let's just rush the passer because their offensive line clearly has flaws.
Adam.
And they were able to do what the Bills did. The Cowboys offense couldn't do anything against the Bills. They didn't have time to throw the ball, and defensively they couldn't stop the run. The Dolphins did the same exact thing. So I think the Dolphins are a good team. They're a team that you can't like sleepwalk into, which obviously the Cowboys offensive line did at least, and definitely the defense. And then and they can beat a team if a team does sleep against the Dolphins, the Dolphins will win. Now, the Cowboys on the other hand, you gotta shore up the run defense, and you got to figure out the offensive line. I know Tyron Smith wasn't playing, which was a huge problem. But you might not have him in the playoffs, just like what we say about the Niners. They're not definitely going to be full strength. You never know how strong you're going to be. And the Cowboys were outcoached on what was it, Saturday, I guess, Sunday? Mm-hmm. They were outcoached on Sunday, and the Dolphins were the better team. That's all it was. There's not too much to analyze. Adam,
you have such a big forehead, even with the hat on. You were leaning up real nice and close to that camera there, and it was just, you got a lot of, I could see your pores.
So this idea that the Dolphins replicated what the Bills did, the Bills went off for 200 rushing yards. The Dolphins ran for 91. We didn't even break 100. Okay, 2 or 3 for 284.
Yeah, Felipe.
Without Waddle.
Yeah, Felipe.
So
what you
this
want,
idea that we just replicated and dominated on the ground is a fallacy. The Dolphins won this game because of their defense, and frankly, all season I've been saying that the reason the Dolphins can make a real Super Bowl run is because of the caliber defense that they have. And frankly, they've lost Jalen Phillips, but. Yep. The Dolphins defense showed up. The Dolphins won this game because of their defense. It's the same reason that we saw Baltimore be able to win in San Francisco, because they have a defense that can completely out-physical a team with a fantastic offense.
Shout out
and that's what happened with Miami and Dallas. So Miami has an offense very similar to Baltimore that can match
have the Dolphins.
Their defense. They do, and the greatest football team. So I think this idea that the Dolphins, they just replicated what they did, and that's why they won. No, the Dolphins absolutely, granted, they should have won this game if the Dolphins were for real. I think we all should take a step back for a second, take a second to congratulate my team on beating a team above 500.
Mazel tov. Merry Christmas.
Big win.
My dad was crying, and I'm not lying about that. My dad cried. My dad cried. You have to understand there's a lot of context there. It's the first time the Dolphins have clinched a playoff berth this early on in the season, even though it's very late, right? So we haven't had that. But I think this Dolphins team is fucking legit. And many people don't want to believe it because it's like Tyreek with Tua. But they were missing Jalen Waddle. They're out Jalen Phillips. And Dallas comes in, and frankly, this felt like a very heavyweight type of battle where pound for pound, someone's going to make 1 punch, one move there, and then you're just going to come back. It didn't feel like this high flying where everyone thinks of this Miami Dolphins team as this offense that's just going to run away with things. Sometimes you're going to need your kicker to kick 5 fucking field goals and win the game. Sometimes you're going to need your defense to go out and win it. And sometimes you're going to need your offense to go out there and win it as well. And I think the Dolphins have all 3 phases locked in, which is why the Dolphins are a real fucking team going into the playoffs and now losing in the first fucking round. Felipe Fontes, thank you very much. I've owned your ass. And now hold my butt.
First off, the Dolphins' offense did not look great. It didn't look great at all.
That's my point.
They got Tyreek going. They got Tyreek going in the second half finally. And
outside of Tyreek, the kicker, y'all's kicker is
Waddle was good. Waddle was good.
Your kicker actually sucks. He actually sucks, but he had a great game.
Your kicker is fantastic. Terrible. That was surprising. A 3+ 50+ yard field goal.
He's no Brandon Aubrey though, man.
No, he's no Brandon Aubrey. No.
at all.
But your defense played well. But you took the same exact script that the Bills did. Just you didn't do it as well.
How did we take the same?
You just didn't. You just didn't do it as well as the Bills did. It was the same exact script. Run the ball, and get after the quarterback. The Cowboys clearly they played an F game when they're capable of playing it.
I was about to say that feels like every single game.
Like, run the ball, get after the quarterback. If you do it well, you're gonna win. If you don't do it well, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, but the Cowboys have a plus 140 point differential or whatever it is on the season for a reason, because teams can't execute that. The Bills did, and the Dolphins literally just copied what the Bills did. Now, the reason I thought the Cowboys would beat down on the Dolphins is because I thought they would bring out their A+ game. They brought out their F game. They played the worst game, one of the worst games they've played all season, probably one of the bottom 3 games the Cowboys have played all year. They're not going to play like that come to playoffs. They're going to get up.
But are
early.
you not going to give credit to the Dolphins? Like, it feels more like this is.
I said the Dolphins played very well, and their defense is really good. In fact, I looked at PFF right now, and I'm looking at defenses. In terms of defensive PFF grades, the Dolphins are number 1 on the season.
They're fucking right we are, bro.
They're a good defense. They're a damn good defense. But when it came down to it, when they had to make a big stop, did they make a stop? No. Dak Prescott drove all the way down the field, scored a touchdown. And then guess what happened? The Dolphins, taking the Bills game script, ran down the whole fucking field and ran out the clock and kicked the game-winning field goal. The Cowboys were weak defensively last night, or not last night, on Sunday, whenever it was. This is late. But the Dolphins took advantage of a bad Cowboys execution, really, when it came to the offensive line and the defense. And look, like I said, if you sleepwalk against the Dolphins, they can win. That's a testament to your team. You guys have a good team. If you sleepwalk against the Dolphins, y'all will win. That's good. You guys are good.
And I'm gonna say you can also not sleepwalk against the Dolphins and lose against the Dolphins.
That I
because
disagree.
The Dolphins have all 3 phases locked in. The Dolphins have all 3 phases.
No, the offense wasn't locked in, bro. Tua looked bad. Tua
all 3 phases. Tua still threw for 284. Still outplayed Dak. Like, what are we doing here?
No.
Without Jalen Waddle.
First of all, Tua played better than that. He threw for 293. Okay, I'm gonna help you out there. And his passer rating was worse than Dak's. But
okay, 24-37 versus 20-32.
More help.
Like. He's missing 3 of his offensive linemen and Jalen Waddle. What do you mean he had more help?
Whose offensive line played better? Who had more rush going against them? Also, I will say this. I'm not trying to take away from the Dolphins. It was a good win for them. Like I said,
what does that mean?
Dude, it was a really good win for the Dolphins. But I will say this as well. The NFL hates Micah Parsons. I don't know why. I think it's been like 38 quarters now. They haven't called a holding. The amount of pictures that were like screenshots that were taking mid-play when Tua's just standing back there and there's like multiple Dolphins offensive linemen pulling on Micah Parsons. Look, I'm not saying this from one game. I'm saying this. It's been 38 consecutive quarters while Micah Parsons hasn't gotten a holding call. You're talking about one of the best defensive players in the league, one of the best defensive players we've ever seen. Can't get a holding call for 38 straight quarters. In this Dolphins game, it was clear they couldn't call that, bro. And then you call the rough in the passer call against Micah Parsons when the Dolphins are about to score. They stop them. The Dolphins are going to be held to a field goal. And because you call a bullshit rough in the passer call, the Dolphins score a touchdown. This game, the Dolphins won. They earned. But also, we got to look at these. As we've said all season, the refs have been bad, and they were very bad in this game. I will say that as well.
Bro, this is a page out of your book.
Mm-hmm.
You could take a screenshot, a picture of any fucking offensive lineman. There will be a hold on every single picture. Yeah, but you've said that.
I agree with that. But Micah hasn't been called for holding in 38 quarters, bro.
Write a book. I don't know. Like,
exactly. Look, you guys earned the win. You guys earned the win. You guys earned the win.
I just wanted an apology, and I just want the Dolphins are a legit fucking team. That's it. The Dolphins are not something that's just going to lose in the playoffs. They're going to be no lower than the number 2 seed in the playoffs. And the Dolphins are a real fucking team. They got all 3 phases. They could win with all 3 phases. Maybe they didn't play like it against Dallas, but you could win with special teams. You can win with defense. You can win with offense. That's a recipe for a Super Bowl contender. And frankly, no one has wanted to say the Dolphins are a real Super Bowl contender this whole season. Except for your boy. And bias works,
you're still not.
They are. The Dolphins are
not even close. If you run into the Ravens right now, you lose by 40.
Good thing we're going to run into the Ravens right now, and hopefully we lose by 40 because that's also what you said against Dallas. So I'm enjoying what you're saying.
Stay strong, Felipe.
Matan, I take it back. I apologize. I cut you off to allow Felipe to talk. I apologize because I should have just let you keep running because fucking Felipe, it's just this is
The Dolphins' defense is underrated. Micah Parsons is one of the best players in football, and that's why he's not getting holding calls. He should be able to get through guys because the NFL respects him so much that they think he should just be able to get past those holds.
That's a spin zone.
That's what it is, Felipe. If you think about it like that, he's just so damn respected.
Well, I do think if we want to go into the referees, like if refs are going to give star treatment to offensive players, we got to give star treatment also to defensive players. I think that's a totally fair thing, and they don't. Like the double standard is crazy.
Well, they do. The problem is that they do. Like if you're looking at it the way I just said it, in that logic is like Micah Parsons is a guy who's so fucking strong and dominant that he should be able to get through the hold. Whereas like Patrick Mahomes can't protect himself at all. So if he gets touched by a freaking pinky, he's going to get the roughing the passer.
But I don't think that's fair.
It's not fair. The NFL has always and will always and continues to favor the offense. Always. It's impossible to play defense in this league. Everything's a pass interference. Everything's a hold. Everything's a roughing the passer. Like
I agree, but other players of Micah's caliber, like Micah Parsons, like T.J. Watt, like other guys, Nick Bosa, they're getting these holding calls 4 or 5 times a game. The Dolphins were getting it. Like they were getting these holding calls. Micah Parsons, the best player on the field, can't get a call. So I'm just saying we got to look into that. If we're NFL officials, we got to look into this. Like, why don't we like Micah Parsons? Is it because he's from Pennsylvania? I understand that because we don't like people from Pennsylvania. But he's not from Texas, so I understand that. But we got to look into that. Hey, Dolphins are a good team. They're going to get smacked by the Ravens. If you would like to make a bet right now about this Ravens-Dolphins game.
Yeah, I'll take plus 40.
Let's take money line. You think the Dolphins will beat the Ravens? Let's make a bet.
If you are hold on, you can't go from they're going to smack them by 40 to let's just take money line. Like you got to feel confident in some spread if you're that confident.
Hold on, let's look at
right now. I can look up the spread right now.
I'm going to look at the spread right now. Hold on. Let's peep. Week 17, Baltimore minus 3.5.
All right, take it. I'm taking the minus 3.5.
Okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to put on it?
You give me your dog.
But
you gotta pay. You gotta continue to pay for it.
50%.
Nah, I don't know. What do you want to do, bro? I don't know.
I don't know. You want me to fucking make some? I don't fucking know. Here's what I would say. And I don't know what I can do on your side.
I'm trying to think.
I would say on your side, I would love for you, if the Dolphins happen to win, to figure out why you need to make that case as to why Tua Tagovailoa is a better quarterback than not only Brock, but someone that deserves to be within that top 5 in the offseason.
Okay, arguing Tua is better than Brock is not that hard, Adam.
Yeah, what do you mean? He put Brock in there.
Okay, that's fine, but like.
But they're close though. They're very close.
Yeah.
But that's my point. I don't think they're that close.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll think about it this week. We'll think about it this week. So listeners,
I'll take my Dolphins. It's okay. You know what? I'd rather lurk in the shadows. I want us to earn that respect. It's the first team that we've beat above 500. I get it, right? This is the greatest. This is
good
the perfect
I'm very
test.
happy for you.
And thank you so much. And frankly, I don't even give a fuck what happens. We got to beat the Bills in week 18. Give me the division because I got it at plus like fucking 285 or 310, whatever it was in the offseason before we got Jalen Ramsey. And there's $1,100 also on this Dolphins team to win the division. So please just get it over with. Can we talk about Mahomes?
Well, really quick, I do want to. We just talked about 2 huge games where I think before this week everyone thought the NFC was the top heavy in the NFL. But both the AFC teams beat those.
Sexed me.
Both of the 2 best AFC teams just beat the 2 best NFC teams. Is it time to start putting respect on the AFC? Is the AFC actually the better side of this NFL, the better conference in the NFL?
There's one great team in the AFC, and it's the Baltimore Ravens. The NFC still has, I would say, 3 great teams. I still think that Cowboys, Niners, and Eagles are 3 great teams. And I think they're all 3 of those are better than, after the Ravens, they're all 3 better than any others. The Bills, I guess, are the second best team in the AFC. And then after that, probably Miami and maybe the Chiefs. I still think that the NFC, those 3 teams in the NFC are better. I do think that it's.
Can we get Jack back?
I think that I do think that there's not as many good teams on either side. I think the NFL's in a bad place right now. There's not that many great teams. Like whereas in the past, we've seen a lot of great teams.
There's 5 teams at the top, 2 in the AFC at their top, 3 in the top of the NFC. It's like finally we have all this parity. But we've had all this parity. I think I saw a stat that was like 24 teams heading into the final 2 weeks have a chance to make the playoffs. Like That's my point. But what I'm saying too is I don't need any team I'd rather see the NFL like this than to have two heavyweights and just shoe in the same way we did with the Chiefs and the Eagles last year. I'd rather have it today the way the NFL is, where there's teams that can make a run and do anything versus two heavyweights that are just going to be the one seed and go to the championship.
No, but my point is, I agree with that. But my point is that those forget the heavyweights. Like in 2007, when the Giants won a Super Bowl, they're not one of the heavyweights, but they're what were they, the 6th seed or something like that? They still can beat any team, and they did. They went to go win a Super Bowl. None of these teams outside of the top couple teams in the NFC and AFC have a chance to win shit. They all suck. Whereas in the past, outside of, you could say in the past, let's say the Patriots are heavyweights and the Colts are heavyweights and the Steelers, every other team that made the playoffs still have a shot to go win it. And this year it's not like that. You only have the Ravens, really, and the Bills maybe in the AFC, and the NFC. It's still those top 3 teams.
Felipe,
nobody's believing in the Lions.
Felipe, I guarantee you. I can't speak because I don't have any. I can't speak. But I guarantee you, if we went back and watched a bunch of NFL analysts in 2007, people were saying the Giants had 0 shot at anything. 0 shot. They were 9-7, 9-6, whatever it was. No, 9-7, right? They had no chance. The who was good then? The Steelers, the Packers, the Patriots, whoever it was. Those were the guys that were these are the only. There were NFL heads just like we are talking about this situation, saying there's only 3 teams that have a chance. There's only 5 teams that have a chance of winning the Super Bowl, and that's these 5 teams. So
how are you not mentioning the Dolphins?
We're not mentioning the 10-5 Browns. They have the best defense in the NFL still, right? Why aren't we talking about those guys? They have a chance to beat anyone at any week because they could just turn up. Who knows?
Bro, I'm all for you talking about the Cowboys. I respect the top 3 in the NFC, but you can't put the Cowboys in that top 3 in the NFC and not put the Dolphins in the top 2 or 3 in the AFC. That's just, you want to talk disrespect.
I did. I said they could be 3rd after the Ravens and Bills. That's top 3. That's 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's how
the Dolphins to me are as good as the 2 NFC heavyweights to me. They have 11 wins.
Thank you.
They have 11 wins. And if we look at wins, Felipe's power rankings have always been calculated by wins, right? Who has that punch power and who has the wins? The Dolphins.
And how many teams in this top 5 or these heavyweights have more than one MVP candidate?
That's true.
Good point. True. And they did just beat what you say, Felipe, is a great team in the Dallas Cowboys. So you've got all the things to back up.
The Dolphins have a 4,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and 2,000-yard receivers. This Dolphins team is fucking legit. You better fucking name them.
And a running back with 22 touchdowns, right? Doesn't he have fucking... Yeah.
Who's 31?
Yeah. Adam, you're in a great position because this week you're playing the Ravens. The week after you're playing the Bills. Those are the 2 best teams, in my opinion, in the AFC right now. You have a chance to go prove that you're better than both of those teams.
But let me ask you a question.
Until then, I don't think you've shown enough.
If I lose to the Ravens and I beat the Bills, are you going to keep that same energy? You're going to be no, the Bills are still the better team.
Well, and also, Felipe, you say that the Cowboys are better than the Dolphins, but they just beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, but then let me go back to what I said earlier, that the Cowboys came out with an F game. They played an F game. And so the Dolphins played well. The Cowboys played bad. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to play this bad the rest of the season. If they do, if I could say, if we could guarantee that the Cowboys play this bad, just like they have against the Bills and against the Dolphins for the rest of the year, then yeah, the Lions are better than the Cowboys.
Bro, I don't think the Dolphins came out with an game
represents who they are. I don't think this game represents who they are. The same way
with the
Niners.
Dolphins.
What? The Dolphins didn't play an A game. They played well. They played well, but not great.
A C+B- game.
Well, they played a much better game than the Cowboys did. No,
it's easier to do that when you have an F game, according to you.
Yeah, so that's why I say that. Yeah, but
so if the Ravens come out and have an F game, but the Dolphins win, then it's no credit to the Dolphins. It's no credit to the Dolphins had a good defense and the Dolphins played really well on offense.
Then we have to start looking at trends. At that point, we got to start looking at trends, which I'm doing right now because I'm looking at the Cowboys, what they did against the Bills. The Dolphins did the same exact thing. So it's a trend on the Cowboys now. If right, the Bills did what you guys did 10 times better. That's why they beat us by double digits, bro. You got to understand that. You only beat us by 2. So they did what you guys did much better, but you guys took the same exact script. But if it happens next week against the Ravens, then it's a trend, and then you start giving
Josh Allen threw the ball 13 times.
This was the Dolphins' first win.
37.
This was the Dolphins' first win against above 500 team. I can't look at that. Bro, what is it? A broken clock is right twice a day. like they won one game against an above 500 team. Can they make it 2? We'll see. If that's the case,
I'm with you.
if that's the case, then yeah, you start giving the Dolphins more respect.
I'm with you, but you said they followed the trend. Josh Allen threw the ball 13 times. Tua threw the ball 37 times. The Bills ran for like 200 yards on the ground. The Dolphins ran for 91. That ain't the same script.
Yeah, but how did you beat us though?
With Jason Sanders and defense.
Right.
The offense was shit.
What pairs very well with the great defense? Time of possession, running the ball. You guys threw the ball, but what I'm saying is your knockout punches were by running. Your knockout punches were straight running the ball. Like that's how you guys knocked us out. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Okay, the Dolphins are a great team. I don't want like if the Cowboys keep playing like this, they're not as good as we thought, and the Dolphins keep playing like this, they're better than we thought. We'll see in the next couple of weeks.
The Dolphins had less time of possession than you guys.
All right. If the Dolphins can beat the Ravens next week, if you guys beat I gotta keep saying the same thing 10 times over. Go win the next few games.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try.
I get it. I get it. All I'm saying is it was a big statement week for the AFC. People are sleeping on those top 2 seeds in the AFC, and it's just saying that the NFC are the only heavy hitters, and the AFC was got the wins this week. So
that's true. They did.
I feel like we got to talk about Mahomes.
Talk about Mahomes, Adam. What would you like to say about Patrick Mahomes?
I don't fucking know. Mahomes stinks. He's the bottom 32 quarterback in the NFL. I don't know, but like the Chiefs stink. The Chiefs genuinely are getting worse at the worst time. The Chiefs are a team that, as I said weeks ago, the Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes for granted. Not even Patrick Mahomes can perform well with subpar wide receivers. And frankly, it was very similar, and they had Juju there, and I understand that. But Juju was a middle-of-the-pack wide receiver that would have complemented them very, very well. They could have got D-Hop. They could have went out and traded for someone, but they took it for granted. And frankly, Travis Kelce looks like he lost a step. And as we talked about in the fantasy episode, it looks like because of the hickey that's on him, if it's a hickey, if it's not.
Did he have a hickey?
It's a hickey.
Oh,
we're going to go with it.
Taylor, you dog.
Taylor Swift sucked the life out of him. And frankly, Taylor does, based off of her music, look like the type of person that does still give hickeys.
Oh, yeah.
Which is also slightly concerning.
Oh, yeah.
But so misogynistic. Dude, that was bad, dude.
Adam's never going to say another word on this episode.
For 2024.
He has no idea. He has no idea if it is or not. He's nervous now. He doesn't know what is and what isn't.
I'm playing, dude. I'm playing. Keep going.
Dude, it doesn't she feels immature. And it feels like an immature practice.
You keep going further down the line, dude. Unbelievable. You don't think women have the capacity to be mature?
No, I don't think Taylor does.
That's unbelievable,
bro. Jesus. The way this whole relationship went down with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, none of this is surprising to me.
And you're saying it's all Taylor's fault.
I'm saying that Taylor's been at all these games, and the Chiefs have looked awful. So yes, it is Taylor Swift's fault that the Chiefs fucking suck.
So the downfall of the Chiefs is because of Taylor Swift.
Yes, exactly.
Because she's a woman.
Because she's a woman.
I didn't say that. You implied that.
But what if she was a man?
Love wins.
Love wins. In that case, love wins.
In that case, love wins. I think, I can't. There is no reason that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs should lose to the Las Vegas Raiders with Aiden O'Connell throwing maybe 20 throws. I don't even think from the second half, I saw a stat that was like in the second quarter on to like the late fourth, he didn't complete a single pass.
Until when? Sorry, you cut out?
The second quarter till like the late fourth. Like I think he had to make one throw. Maybe it was like from the second quarter on, he didn't even have to complete a pass. But like there's no reason that the Chiefs should have lost that game. The Chiefs, like it's time to start worrying about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think the complaints with Mahomes is blown out of proportion. Like obviously he's angry. Like when they're losing, they're playing bad. He's mad. We've seen, dude, Tom Brady was the biggest crybaby of all time. That's like true. Every fucking week he was crying on the sideline. He was throwing fits. He was yelling at his coaches. So like the thing now, like, oh, we gotta, if like Mahomes, like he gets treatment that other quarterbacks don't. Like, no, we gave Brady this treatment his whole career. Brady earned the treatment, or I guess he earned the pass, and so has Mahomes. So I'm not buying all the shitting on Mahomes thing, but I do think that they are getting worse. I know. I'm just talking about the topic of conversation. Like everybody, like if you've been on Twitter, like everybody's trying to say like, oh, like this special treatment that Mahomes gets. Look at him on the sideline. If it was any other quarterback, like no, Peyton, like Tom Brady was doing that his whole career. So
Yeah, and
I
also
do think the Chiefs are looking bad at the wrong time.
The same thing goes to also just like putting him as the number one quarterback in the NFL. Of like he gets his pass because he's proven himself. It doesn't matter how he's playing right now. You could say Lamar Jackson, you could say Josh Allen, you could say fucking Brock Purdy too, or whatever. Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in football, and there's no argument to it, whether he's playing bad or not.
Agree, but naturally, this type of year is going to hurt that argument because he also need. He's still the best, hands down. It's not even a question. I'm just saying we argued that he doesn't need the help as much as he did, and frankly, this year now Kelsey's been bad, but he needs the help, and it goes to show that every fucking quarterback needs help.
Is that racial, Adam? You say the help? Is that racial?
It's pop. I mean, again, maybe. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Dude, you just go to Florida and you become all type of a prejudice, bro. What are you doing?
Like, Travis Kelce is like, I can't fathom what is going on in Kansas City because I got into this argument the other day that, like, I don't believe defense can win championships anymore in the NFL. I think it can get you there, but unless you have an offense that can match your defense, an offense that can put up similar to the Ravens just did, the Niners, the Cowboys, the Dolphins, clearly, where they were able to win defense and then score enough. Like, I don't think you can win in today's NFL with just a defense. And I think that's what the Chiefs were banking on going into the season. Patrick Mahomes and a defense. And that defense at some point, which we saw with fucking like the Jets, right? Where we said early on, this Jets team isn't going to take them to the playoffs just because of their defense. You're going to need an offense to win you some games. Yeah. And right now, not even the offense can win you some games. So I'll go back to the take I said weeks ago is that the Chiefs took Patrick Mahomes for granted. They put all that money, invested everything into that defense. Defense was fantastic, but they're not going to win you every game. And I don't think you can win with just a defense in today's NFL.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you can win with just a defense and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live. So I think they're fine. I think, like, look, they could win a couple games in the playoffs. They're going to make it to the AFC Championship game, and then it comes down to that. At that point, I'm going to trust the big-time players to make big-time plays in big-time games, and Mahomes can do that. On other quarterbacks in the AFC, like Lamar has one playoff win. Josh Allen has played well in the playoffs, but they haven't had that big win in the playoffs yet. So I would still lean on Mahomes. I think they could still win this year, and I'm not overreacting. Like last year, they had no help on offense outside of Travis Kelce, and they still did their thing. So,
do you? I think you have to worry. It's going to be the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career that he's going to play a playoff game on the road. Like there is some concern. That's now, granted, if there's any quarterback that can overcome it, it's obviously Patrick Mahomes. But to say you're not worried at all, I think is pretty ridiculous. Patrick Mahomes, the way they played, they just lost to the Raiders at home. And not just lost, got their asses kicked, though. They got their asses handed to them. And without even an offense having to do much, they just ran the ball. Zamir White ran down that throat. And the defense is –
Pause that.
Play.
That defense has been a team that has kept them there. So that's why I'm just saying, like, I don't think – a defense can maybe get you there, right? You could win some games with them, but they're not going to win it all because of the defense.
Do you – I want to go through this really quickly because we're going to wrap up in a minute, but I want to – predict the playoffs as it stands right now. I have the bracket in front of me. I have all the seeding as it is right now after week 16, the NFL playoffs. We're going to predict what the outcomes will be. It's interesting because, Felipe, you just said that the Chiefs you think could make the AFC Championship. Yeah. So that got me thinking. You know, let's look at what that road could look like. Right now, Baltimore and San Francisco are the 2-1 seeds, so they're going to get the bye. The first matchup I see here is Cleveland and Jacksonville. Who wins that game?
Cleveland.
All right.
I don't think as of right now, like this Jacksonville team is we're not going to talk about them because we've been going for an hour. But this Jacksonville team is I'm more worried about the Jags than I am about the Chiefs. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
The next AFC game is Buffalo and Kansas City at Kansas City. So like
I'm taking.
Are we sure? Are we so sure the Chiefs can make it to the AFC Championship? Right now, the Chiefs.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. Yeah. I'm saying they could, but that game, that'd be a crazy wild card game. That's an insane wild card game. I'd probably take the Bills.
I might take the Chiefs only because the Bills won the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's my theory.
Feels just like, it can go either way. So, damn.
Last one.
That's a toss.
Last one in the AFC is Indianapolis at Miami.
Dolphins. Felipe's
thinking about it. No, yes, okay, the same thing. The Colts could win, but they're not going to. The Dolphins will win that game.
That's probably. I don't know. I saw them lose to the Titans, but yeah. Probably, you're right.
All right, in the NFC, we got Dallas at Tampa Bay. At Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Dallas.
And then Rams at Lions.
I don't know.
That's an interesting one.
I kind of like the Rams.
Me too.
But
Rams at Lions. I'm going to take coaching. I'm going to take the Rams in a shootout, honestly.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that'd be fun.
And then last one in the NFC, the Battle of the Birds, Seattle at Philly.
Philly.
Yeah, you got to take Philly. Can we keep going? Are we going to keep going? All
yeah,
right,
I got to think about it. So wait, so who plays who then, right? Who does the 1 seed play? The winner of?
One would play the top, which would be the
one would play
Bucks. Bucks just played who again?
Bucks Dallas.
Who's the 7 seed in the playoffs?
This on
Seattle
and Indy. So it would be Ravens Dolphins.
Ravens.
No, the Ravens and the Dolphins wouldn't play. 1 and 2 wouldn't play.
Oh, does it depend who wins?
It would be low. Yeah, Ravens would play the Bills if the Ravens won.
Okay, so Ravens Bills. Yeah, I got you. Ravens Bills.
Or no, the Ravens would play the Browns. The Ravens would play the Browns, right?
The Bills are 6 and the Browns are 5.
Yeah. So I guess for Felipe, because he took the Bills, we'll say the Bills.
Yeah.
Just like even though I took the Chiefs, I'll say the Bills.
Sure.
Okay. So for the sake of it, Ravens versus Bills, I don't fucking know. That's a toss-up, bro.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens. They're more complete.
I would go Ravens as well.
Just for the sake of it, I'll go Buffalo.
All right. I mean, yeah, I think it's a toss-up.
And then it would be Miami, Cleveland.
I got to go Miami still.
Yeah. That's also a
because
toss-up.
It's at home.
That's a hard one.
This I feel more confident in. Miami. I'm going to go Miami.
All right. And then
Miami. Can we, for the sake of either? All right, I don't care. Miami, ball. Let's just stick with the AFC. Sure. Miami versus Baltimore or Buffalo.
Sure.
That's a crazy one.
I'm just, man, this playoffs already look electric.
I just can't see Cleveland going to the AFC Championship. That's just not going to happen.
Same.
Not with Joe Flacco.
Same. So
at this point, it's
Miami,
a win. Adams.
So Miami versus Baltimore, then I got Baltimore, obviously.
Clearly, I got Miami, so we're about to stand still.
Right, so Miami to the Super Bowl, according to Adam.
Thank you, Matan.
And Baltimore to the Super Bowl.
Okay, how about the NFC? We got to do the NFC now.
Yeah, we got to do the NFC.
Matan, break the tie.
Oh, I'm taking Baltimore. Sorry.
Fuck. Okay.
I got to take Baltimore.
For the record, I tweeted out a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I had a dream the other night that Miami ends up losing to Baltimore, and then they will beat Buffalo. They go into Baltimore for the AFC Championship. And my dream ended there. I woke up. I don't know what happened, but I guess that's what happened. So.
I'm glad you woke up.
It'll have to play out. In the NFC, we got San Francisco versus, I guess, the Rams, right? Because they're the 6th seed. And we had the Rams winning.
I'm going to go San Francisco for
wait, it's the 49. Oh, yeah, you're right.
49ers, Rams.
I'll take the Niners over the Rams.
Same.
I'll take the Niners too, but if the Rams happen to lose next week, it would not shock me if somehow something weird happens. Because if they can't stay healthy, we've seen injuries affect the Niners more than any other team. I'll take the Niners for this argument.
All right, and then NFC East divisional matchup: Cowboys, Eagles.
Yeah, I'll take Dallas. Dallas much better.
That's so hard.
In Philly, I'm taking the
Dallas,
Eagles.
but I think it's Dallas.
I'm taking the Eagles, I think.
I think I have to take Dallas. I really, really hope it's not either. Can they both lose?
Tie? They
Dallas
both go.
Dallas 9-4 against the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going
to take
Dak. I'll take Dallas. And then it's Niners, Cowboys.
Yeah, it depends on injuries. Fully healthy, I'm going to take Niners. Injuries on the Niners side, I'm going to take Cowboys.
What about injuries on the Cowboys side?
I'm going to take Niners.
Yeah, I'm going to take Niners no matter what.
So we're looking at a Niners-Ravens Super Bowl.
And the Niners win the Super Bowl rematch.
How great would it be for Lamar to win his 2nd MVP and then go win a Super Bowl and go win a Super Bowl MVP as well? And then we got to talk about Lamar. If that happens, we got to talk about Lamar as one of the most electric athletes of all time.
I will say there is that theory about the coloring of the Super Bowl text.
Oh yeah.
Whatever the coloring is usually the teams in the Super Bowl, and it is.
Oh, it is.
Ravens
I have
purple.
it on my computer. It is.
It is Ravens purple, and it is certainly red for the 49ers. So
interesting.
Quite certainly.
We got it right.
Talk about
I
the
will
script.
say, though, if Lamar happens to win the MVP and even goes to the AFC Championship, I don't even think he needs to win it all. Like, I'm so excited to see the discourse around putting Lamar within that top 3, because at that point we had then been putting Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Like, Lamar had always been hovering around there, but he hadn't had the MVP since 2019. And then he goes on, wins the MVP, and then puts together a performance where Joe Burrow obviously went to the AFC Championship, and Josh Allen has gotten close. Like, these guys that have gone there, well, now he has the accolades over all of them, and it'd be fun to put Josh. It'd be fun to say that Lamar is arguably the second or third best quarterback in the league, hands down. So
yeah, I think we could have been. I'm excited for everyone to hop on board to that, because I think we could have been saying that already. But whenever I would bring up Lamar MVP to say, oh, that was 2019. But after 2019, he won a playoff game. So that's an evolution right there. And then you got to look at the next 2 years. One of those years he got hurt. He didn't play. So I think the criticism of Lamar isn't fair, especially compared to other quarterbacks. And if he wins a second MVP, then you're talking about like a guy like Joe Burrow, who has 0 MVPs, 0 MVP candidate seasons.
You know why? It's because he's
black.
A woman.
I knew you were going to say that.
No, a woman.
Oh.
Because Joe Burrow's
fucking racist. You fucking racist.
No, what do you mean? I think NFL fans are fucking racist. What do you mean?
They are. A lot of them are.
No one wants. Bro, I got into this argument yesterday. Like, people don't want to give credit to Lamar. No one wants this Russian quarterback. Like, if he wins another MVP and at least just gets to the AFC Championship, you better put fucking respect on his name.
Bro.
Bullshit.
Facts. Yo, did you guys see? You probably didn't. This happened at like 1:30 in the morning last night. Marlon Humphrey went live on Instagram last night on the Ravens plane.
No.
And,
I didn't see it.
And it was hilarious. Felipe, you saw one clip because it was Kyle Hamilton saying, like, I'm on the black team, like the all-black team.
Oh, I saw that.
So I was watching that live, bro, in bed, like at literally 1:30 in the morning. They're on the plane. And Marlon Humphrey's like, he's a goon, man. He's just like goofing around, going to every player on the team. He goes around. He goes to Kyle Hamilton. He's like, if you have 2 more games like this, I think they're talking DPOY. And he's like, and Kyle Hamilton's like, I don't know about that, but and he went to Zay Flowers, who was wearing this goofy outfit. He went to Lamar, and I don't know. He was talking to Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy was like, let me ask you a question, Marlon. And Humphrey's like, yeah, what? He was like, how did it feel to like get absolutely rocked by Deebo Samuel? And he was like, man, I should have remembered that guy is thick.
Yeah, he's thick as shit.
He is thick.
Pause, play.
Yeah.
Resume.
Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Stay resumed. Just keep going.
The whole thing was very.
I wouldn't know. I figured.
Yeah, of course.
I would.
So I guess Jack's not joining, but if I were him, I wouldn't join either, because I mean, my quarterback just threw four interceptions, so there's no reason to join and try to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just the context around Brock is like, I'm all for supporting Brock, and I think he's a damn good quarterback. I think he's a franchise quarterback. Like, you have your guy, and you're going to win the Super Bowl because of him as well if he plays well. But this hurts every single argument that Jack's ever made, which is like, he's not playing well in the system, and the system sucked. The system failed him, and when the system doesn't work, he's also going to fail. And
when the yak is gone, the Jack is gone.
Ooh. Mic drop. Yeah. I was going to read a tweet that Jack just tweeted like not even an hour ago. He said, end of the day, I don't give a flying fuck if Brock Purdy wins MVP or not. Just need my boy to bounce back so we can win that Lombardi. Ultimately, that is what it's all about. So who cares?
Yes. That is what it's all about. He's right.
Put an MVP.
MVP's nice. MVP's nice.
The point isn't that. The point is that it goes against his argument. So
that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. All right. Well, we got to wrap up here. Yep. Absolute pleasure, fellas. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I'll see you guys later this week on
Love you.
Zoom.
Miss you.
Thanks for listening to the Caps Off podcast. See you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Hey guys, forgot to record this part earlier, so I'm going to do it here now. Like and subscribe below. Share this with your friends. Send it to anyone if you like it. Come back, subscribe, hit the bell, you get the notifications, all those things. And if you want to bet on any sports, go to thegameday.com/promotions right now and sign up for the best sportsbook offers.